Welcome to the 2012 Fusion Podcast, presented to you by the Oregon Ministry Network. Fusion took place November 8th through 10th at People's Church in Salem. The following workshop, entitled Single in Ministry, was brought to us by Sean Silverii.
How many would consider themselves to be, how many would say like you're a youth leader or a children's leader or versus a full-time or part-time vocational? Yeah, like I hate the word volunteer. I'm just going to say that because I tell my leadership team, you guys aren't volunteers to me. You are youth pastors along with me, even though you might not have that title. I tell my leaders that all the time. So I'm just kind of trying to get a feel for everything a little bit. How many of you guys would say you're, somewhat part-time vocationally in children's ministry or full-time in either children's or in youth? Gosh, whatever I am.
Like we have a job outside.
Like you may have a job outside of it, yeah, or you're getting somewhat of a compensation from church or whatever. Okay, cool. So it's probably, I'd say half and half. Okay, just want to kind of get a feel. The bottom line is, ministry's hard, right? Right? I mean, ministry is, it's not like it's easy, right? And so, I have a slide for that. Okay, yeah. Okay. Right, yeah. I should probably get my notes out here. Yeah, ministry's difficult. Okay, it's difficult whether you're single or it's difficult whether you're married. Okay, it's difficult when you're trying to date. Right? I mean, it's not an easy thing. Leadership in general is very difficult. So in order for even to be single is not necessarily mean that ministry is more difficult. It just means it's different. Right? And a lot of times I think we get looked at as, it's more difficult for you, or it's less difficult for you, or you get all these different labels put on you because you are single, when the reality is it's just hard all around. Leadership has its difficulties no matter what age, stage, area, and life we're in. And I just kind of wanted to kind of lay the groundwork for you guys. It's hard no matter what. And it kind of makes you feel like that girl or that guy. There's my fiance. I am not single, but I have been doing ministry single. Josh is like, dang it. I've been doing ministry single. I've done the dating thing with the kids, not the kids, but the kids noticing. Back it up there. No, she's my babe, my beautiful fiance, and that's my niece. And in case you were wondering, we really are together. So I do, not just her. There's me as well. Both of us there. And so that's my fiance, and we've been dating for will be a year next month. And I met her here at Youth Convention actually last year. And I was in Cincinnati, Ohio for 2.5 years. Before then, I was a small group leader in my church. I worked part-time. I went to school full-time, was a small group youth leader, and I have done ministry single for a long time, what feels like a long time. And so I was born and raised in California. Drew is one of my heroes. Been telling the youth guys, Drew Smithson is one of my heroes. He's known me since I was 13 or 14 years old. And I was Southern Cal is I consider Southern California to be my home. And obviously Oregon's my home, but that's just where I'm from. That's where my roots are from. And I have loved doing ministry as a single adult. I don't want to make it sound like I haven't, because ministry's hard, and I've loved it. I've loved doing that. The whole time I've done ministry as a single person, there's some myths that I've kind of run into There's some myths about it, and let's see if you guys recognize some of these myths. The myths of singleness. I love this. I forgot I put these up. One myth that I ran into, and I'm going to hear from you guys. I want this to be very interactive, okay? One myth I've ran into is that you have more time on your hands. Right? How many of you feel me, right? It's like, oh, you ain't doing nothing, you're single. What?
I hear that almost every week.
Almost every week?
Yes.
That's unfortunate. See, I didn't hear it that often, but I heard it often enough.
Unfortunately, I hear it from our
youth workers. Wow. I'm like, what? Right? Tell you what. How many of you have heard that one, that myth? Okay, here's the thing. Everybody has the same amount of time. It's what you do with that time, right? It's not that I have more time on my hands. It's I utilize the time I have differently. So instead, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but instead of me having to go home to my wife, I go home to nobody, all right? And I turn on the TV and make my own food. Okay, instead, and do my own laundry, and right. So it's a myth to think that we have more time on our hands. Now, we may utilize that time differently, and we may be able to leverage that time because we don't have a family, but I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's a myth to say that I have more time on my hands. And that's not always the case, because we always can fill our time. We always can fill it with stuff. There's always something to be done. Another myth. I don't know if I have. Nope. Oh yeah. Oh, there's the time. Another myth is that you're less effective than the married person. You're less effective than the married person. Now, I think I can understand where this is coming from simply because of where I am right now with my fiance. I cannot wait for her to get here because I do feel like she's my better half, okay, even though we're not married yet. But that the myth that God cannot use a single person as powerfully as a married person is absolutely unbiblical and wrong. Look at Paul, okay? And so it's a myth to think that I can't be just as effective in ministry as a single person. It's a myth because of basically what the Bible teaches and shows and talks to us about. And so that's another myth. How many of you guys have felt that way, though? Like you kind of felt that way? Yeah. Is somebody out there? Anything peek and poke in their head? Is it Donaldson? Okay. It's easy for us to feel that way, but those feelings we need to challenge because the story for you guys. I was in Cincinnati. I'd been there for about 6 months. I'm 24 years old, and this parent just blitzes my youth leaders, like pulls them aside and just gives them the up and down all around. And one of my youth leaders, she's a very sweet, very devoted, girls loved her, and so I'm trying not to get ahead of myself here, comes up to me and grabs me after she'd just gotten tore up and was like, watch out for so-and-so. And I was like, what? What's going on? And obviously both my youth leaders were very upset. And so I grabbed her, not literally, and the parent, and I called my dad first of all. I was ticked because she just was false accusations, blah, 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 and then attacked my character in front of my leaders and all this stuff. Pulled her aside, pulled her in that night for a meeting, and she was just going, I can't believe they hired a single youth pastor. He should have been married. I can't believe. And my lead pastor started going after my lead pastor then in front of me. I said, hold up. I said, first of all, I may be young. Second of all, I may be single. But I am the youth pastor of this thing, and God has called me here. Okay? I'm called by God to do a job here. Just because I'm single doesn't mean that God hasn't called me. Just because you're single doesn't mean God hasn't called you. Okay, it doesn't make you half of a person, doesn't make you less of a person. Now, when you get a spouse, it makes you better than you thought you could be. It makes you even more, because it takes you to that next level. Whatever that next level is that God has, He's going to use that in that season. But for this season, as a single person, you have the tools as a single person to do what God has called you to do. Doesn't mean He doesn't have a calling on your life, and it doesn't mean that you cannot be effective. Okay, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay, sometimes we can fall into that myth or into that trap. The third myth that I have, and I want to hear from some of yours, you have a greater chance of sinning sexually. Okay? You have a greater chance of sinning. I heard this all the time. Well, as a single person, and yet,
I haven't heard it, but that undertone is...
Yeah. I'm so hesitant to say, because I know that we got TP up in here, and then we got Drew up in here, but I've never really heard a scandal with pastors happen with single people. Okay, I'm not saying, I think that it can happen with anybody. Anybody can sin morally. Okay, but just because I'm single doesn't mean I'm more likely to. Okay, we all have to be on guard all the time. We have to be on guard. We have to set up those boundaries. We have to say, even though I'm single, yes, I can be tempted sexually just as much as any other pastor can be. I can be tempted with any type of gambling or immorality or pornography or anything like that. But just because I'm single doesn't mean I'm more likely to be tempted or to fall into that temptation. Does that make sense? I think it's kind of a myth there that we kind of get into. Is there any other... Maybe I just blew up some minds right now. I don't know. These are some things that I've kind of been thinking, though. Things I've thought through, things that I've encountered myself. So are there any other myths that maybe you guys have ran into at all? I'm going to open it up to you guys.
Why can't you do more?
Oh, why can't you do more? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of goes along with that time thing, but...
Yeah, right.
I don't have kids, I'm not married, so why can't I do more?
Right. And something that we need to do as now, and some of you who aren't quite yet into ministry or thinking about going into it, or just youth leaders, you need to, or children's leaders, you need to guard your schedule. Just because you're single doesn't mean you don't have the responsibility to guard your schedule, to be calculated, to be good stewards of your time. Does that make sense? We still need to be good stewards of our time, because someone, if it's not you, will run your schedule for you. They will run your life, and God loves them, and they love God, and they love you, but they will run your life. It's just the way it is, whether you're single or not. Yeah, kind of going a lot. I might have taken that to the next level. Sorry, but
that's okay.
Any other myths or that you've kind of heard that just doesn't sound right? That's not. I don't feel that way. That's not true. Anything? No. Okay. All right. We'll move on. I like to sometimes dispel myths, because I don't necessarily, and it's good to be aware of those things as well, and it's good to kind of talk about it with each other, because sometimes don't you just feel a little isolated? You feel in ministry alone, you feel that. You feel that way in ministry as it is, and then to tack on your single status, it's like, that's kind of an obstacle. And that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about right now is obstacles of being single. So here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do with this. I want us to kind of break off. Oh, isn't that cute? Remember these boxes? I had a blue one. Remember these? Blue and orange. What I want us to do is break off into groups of 2 to 4, something like that. We can do that. And I want us to come up with 3 to 5 different obstacles that we have of being single in ministry. Some obstacles you've faced, some obstacles you've seen maybe happen in your own personal life or with other leaders. Just kind of discuss and write down some obstacles. So if you guys want to pass these papers around, kind of get off into groups a little bit. Here, I'll just do this here. No, I'm joking. So feel free to... What time we got time. Oh yeah, we got time. So I want you guys to come up with. Does everybody have pens? Yeah. Do I need these?
I do. I need one.
You need one? Okay. There you go.
For everything else.
There you go. You don't have one? Sorry, it's a bummer. No. There you go. So go ahead and go ahead and break off, move your chairs around. I'll turn the lights on. You guys can kind of discuss. Wait. Sorry. So 3 to 5, just 3 to 5, like some obstacles. We need some music in here. Huh? Yeah, I'm here for this.
Are you going back home after the service?
Yeah, after the service.
You are, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, can we hang after that? But if not, then what are you done, 4?
I'm done at 4, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll go do some work.
What's easy for you? What's easiest for you?
Well, I thought, if you're like you're around tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you're not, no problem.
Okay.
Because I want to catch up.
Yeah,
so.
I want to go get some. I want to buy you some of that.
Cool.
Go to Starbucks.
Well, then I'll come back here in a half hour. I'll go do a little work and then I'll come back. Okay. Does that work?
Okay, yeah, it works. I'm all nervous. I'm all nervous with you back there, man.
Well, I'm proud of you. That's what I did to encourage you.
Remember when?
That's what we
back
love
in the day, man.
Oh, man, I know. Man.
I was fine artsing it up.
But that's some good basketball at Pinecrest, though. You and Jordan.
So much fun. Yeah, and your son and Ryan, and just it was
a goal there. I mean, I love the PKs there, but you guys, you and then Jackie too, and my kids, and that was fun. That was a fun crew. Before you guys, there was some really bitter PKs, and then since then there's been some.
Really,
which is fun. We hang out, we pray, and so. But you guys, it was like a lot of fun.
It was fun.
That was a fun group.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I just look back in those years, and I'm just like so grateful for them. I'm like, oh man, it's great times.
Yeah, I was like having you guys around though.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I'll let you go do your work. Thanks for me. Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Totally see that. Yeah. And I provide
All right.
Obstacles. Let's look back at my fiance's picture. Oh yeah.
right. Without it being seen as right. And that line has gone through that. And that's fine because so it's really hard to be really careful.
Y'all are young too. Yeah, I just turned 2, so that is like another when you were like past 40. There's a mess. You can still have those.
Well, and not only I think it's kind of
You know, if you guys are
like supervision, providing transportation, all of the things that come with being here. Have other yeah, have other
What do you think about
has been a youth leader, pastor for 20 years, and he says like in some of your classroom positions, so he is not always, because we have so many young men coming, he's now coming to our website and see, and that's the other thing I find. Older adults sometimes one of your biggest products. Oh yeah. The music's too loud. The music's this. Yeah. The music's loud. It's like I get it. let's play music.
Like same way, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. Our church in heaven and talk to God. I wasn't there. Exactly. Well, and in the opposite spectrum of that, your older generation can be a great asset to your youth.
especially for the children. Not so much for the youth, but especially the grandmas, for nurseries and children.
My grandmas, my grandmas, they're like, been there, done that. I'm done. I don't need to work anymore, and I don't need to serve anymore. I don't know. I'm done.
See, you're back to the 20% of the
And they want to be served. Yep. Oh yeah. They're just like, no, I'm
Did Dad leave that little pouch with you?
No, I didn't see a pouch.
Okay.
Sorry, Charlie. It's okay.
I don't have a partner to go home to, and
it's like your God.
I struggle, but I don't have that partner. It's just me. It's just me who has to carry, oh my gosh, this family just went through this horrible, this child just shared something with them. And it's just me. I'm in this confidence where I have no partner to share.
You need that individual partner. I would
Yes.
I think that's the job. When you said, I mean, the married women, they see you still together. This is so confident towards stay away from each other. You know, it's like we're afraid that
What's the matter, guys? You got a few there.
I got 2. I got 3. So being a mama's boy. See,
Oh.
see how to relate to the opposite sex from lonely and being a mama's boy. That's all we got.
Those are obstacles?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Huh?
To us, they are.
No.
Best we can come up with.
What's wrong with you?
Obstacles. Well, I think obstacles. I think in terms of like, well, you don't have the freedom to really minister to girls. There's a lot of barriers there that is really tough to overcome. Because for me, it was really, I'll tell you how I overcame them here in a second. Actually, I probably should write that down. Where's a piece of paper? No one is that. Yeah, so it's like so the ministering part to girls. Because when you have a spouse, you're able to, hey, why don't you come on over? I can't invite a girl over to my house, you know. I can't have her sit in the back seat, like I can't do that. Like, I mean, guys do it anyway, and they get fired, or they do things they shouldn't do, or they get in trouble, or they, but so you've got that's a huge obstacle there, because you want to be the father figure. That's what had a hard time. I've wanted to be the father figure, but I've had such a, like, where do I draw the line? Where do I, that's been one thing. So think in terms of as a dude, another thing is, man, is like, one obstacle is, and this will get mentioned, this is a huge obstacle. You go home and you really don't have anybody to share life with. You don't have that partner in crime with you. And you guys are a little younger, and you guys are all living together and stuff, and so that kind of helps. Like college, it was definitely different for me. But once you get out into the ministry, one of the big obstacles is I go home, and maybe I've got a roommate, but he works at Safeway or something, you know what I mean? Or Like, or he's pumping gas 6 days a week, So it's like, he doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. It's cool to have somebody there, but it's almost like you'd rather not have anybody there, because it's just kind of he's taking up space. He's a friend maybe or whatever, maybe not. But the bottom line is just the spouse is there's something about having somebody you share life with, who's your partner, your partner in crime. And so you've had a rough day, it's been a rough week, you can't just enjoy the evening with your spouse. You've had a great week, you come off of a great winter camp, you come off of a great time altar call, and I go home after our altar call on Wednesday night. I didn't even talk to Ashley. I couldn't talk to her. I really didn't talk to her until Thursday afternoon. And I didn't even talk to her about Wednesday night until Thursday night. That was a whole day. And I thought to myself, dude, how did I do? It bothers me when I don't talk to her, that night about the Wednesday night that happened. It bothers me. If I come off of an event and I can't share the event with her. And so when you're single, it's even more heavy there. It's an obstacle. It's a challenge. It's very challenging. Does that make sense? That type of So, you guys, unless you guys get married before you take your positions, or whether it's music or youth or children's or whatever, you'll run into that. And it's hard to kind of grasp it now, because you guys have, a lot of guy time. It's a lot of fun, and it's more of a college atmosphere for you guys right now. But yeah. Anyway, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that might not be an obstacle for you, but I'm just kind of throwing out some ideas, some obstacles I've faced. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because I don't really vent out to anyone. Literally, I need to be quiet by myself when I want to. Sure. When I'm angry or something like that. But I guess I get the idea of when you want to tell something that something cool happened, you want to tell something.
Yeah.
So I guess
you celebrate.
Yeah. But I guess
Yeah. Celebration, and even because guys like you that have a little more internalizing things, there's still the obstacle of you have it in your I can't understand because I'm not like that. Well, that's not true. I think every guy is somewhat like that, but the concept of doing life together, that idea about, even though you may not be very vocal or verbal about it, still the idea that I get to share life with this person, you really don't have that, and so it can be a challenge. So anyway, I'm gonna write this question down. I just thought of this question right now. I know you did. Good. Good, you did. There's some principles here that I'm about to share that you're going to need to know.
Okay.
Aren't you glad you came in here?
Yeah.
Glad you played ball with us last night, too.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
You should have played the rest of the game. I was trying to get him tired from the last game, but I could barely do it because we were playing half court.
Yes.
That was my strategy with all the other guys. I was I'm just going to run around when they came. I think I gave one of the kids a dead leg because I think, I don't know. Someone got knee. Well, the guy was blocking or whatever, right? His knee. Someone hit his knee. I think it was me. Hit his thigh, and he was he don't want to walk anymore. I'm a fool.
That's good. You guys got another one? No?
I can't think of one.
No? Let's go one more minute. One more minute.
I'm trying to find where that'd be an obstacle. Well, now that you have a wife, you don't really need your mom.
Oh. That's what I do to my kids. That's what I do. That's what I do to Ashley right here. Watch. Right here.
Go ahead, dude. I'm not afraid.
I pull her in and kiss her on her forehead. I kiss her right here. I kiss her right here.
Sly move.
Makes the chicks melt, dude. I love it though. I love it. Love it. You know why I love it? You would. You know why I love it? Because she gives me a big smile. I love watching her smile. Boom. Boom. Love to make her smile, man. Oh, this is really good. I don't want to smile. No. Yes, I do actually.
Dude, I love your half mustache though. You see that? See what I'm doing? I'm shaving the middle and then just growing these out. It's pretty cool.
For November?
Huh? Yeah.
How are you still single?
Huh?
How are you still single? I don't understand. I love PT. I love TP over there. I love you. Did you guys see this? Did everybody see this? Okay. Just want to make sure everybody saw that right there.
Oh, we didn't see it.
Would you stop showing off?
Such a doll. Sorry. Sorry.
Don't need to rub it in.
She's in. Sorry. I apologize. She's in Costa Rica. Haven't seen her for 10 months. Well, a little bit. Seen her a little bit. Saw her in August. But anyway, you guys need another second or whatever? Yeah. You good? Oh, okay. Hey, you can get another second. That's cool. I was just going to talk. So, talk to me. What are some obstacles you think? And I wrote a couple down myself. I thought you guys actually might line up with some of the things that I thought of. What are some obstacles? Full-time job.
On top of full-time ministry.
Wow. That's tough. Yeah, because I mean you're supporting yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Right. And if the church can't pay you enough. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Right.
Pastors are supposed to be.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Along with that, some of those kids or some of the young singles are doing full-time jobs and going to college and helping with youth ministry and helping.
Yeah. Yeah. No help on the old income. Yeah, that's a good point.
We have all the time in the world.
Right. Well, you've got everything, all the time in the world, right? That is, I pulled a Mythbusters right there. What are some other obstacles that we face as singles in ministry?
Working with students of the opposite sex.
Okay, elaborate on that a little bit.
You can't really build relationships, spend one-on-one time with a student who is opposite sex because of protocol. And, you don't want to. But so when you don't have a spouse to interact with those students and spend time with them, then me personally, I feel like I'm missing out on half of my youth group.
Sure. It's tough. Here's what I did. That is one of the biggest obstacles. It is a big obstacle. This is what I did. And I didn't even, people all the time, oh, what are you going to do with the girls? I'm like, well, I'll tell you exactly. Okay, I'm going to recruit female youth leaders like it's nobody's business, and I did that. I will meet with students, females, in pairs, and if honestly, I would keep my door open. I still do this. I'll do this when I get married. I'll keep my door open. I have a window in my office, and we'll go to the office and we'll meet with them if they need to be met with one-on-one. Or I would take a youth leader with me. There was I had a troubled student. Her name was Stephanie in Cincinnati, and she was troubled. And anytime I met with her, there was one time I met with her. I had one of my female youth leaders come with me to Starbucks. I said, hey, I'm going to have Chelsea come with me. Is that all right? And she had a relationship with Stephanie, and so it was all good. I would meet with that student with a youth leader that they trusted as well, female youth leader. And but it is a big obstacle. And so I have more female. I don't know if I do at Albany. Do I? I don't know if I do. Robin, have more female youth leaders than male youth leaders. I don't know if I do. It's really close. Yeah, it's about even. Yeah, so it's about even. And so, you go after couples and young adults, and you go after everybody. But I always was really keen on. I would zero in on female youth leaders. It sounds kind of funny, but yeah. Hey, come be a part of my youth leadership team. So the opposite for guys. Then, if you're a female in youth ministry, you go after the dudes. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big one though. Big one, yeah.
The thing I have issues with is that I want to go after get guys in my children's ministry, but then you have the issue of how do you meet with them? Because you can't just go and meet with them. You have to have other people so that because they're closer to your age. So then it's like.
Okay, the dudes.
Because we don't have a lot of young adults or adults that are able to volunteer their time. They're volunteering their time in other aspects of the church. Yeah. So I'm always running to the youth department and snatching their kids and using them on Sunday mornings, which I have all these great energetic kids, but how do you meet with him if he's still a youth and things are going to be questioned?
Well, the one thing that I would do is at least somebody knows where I am, at least one person always knows where I am when I'm there. And so if you don't have an office or space that you can just meet where it's on campus, or maybe there is a space you can meet on campus, it's maybe not an office, you meet with that person on campus where there's a window or open space, because you're talking, children's ministry, you can have a 15 or 16 or 17-year-old working for you. But yeah, so if you have to meet one-on-one, which it can be done, it's they meet you there at a place that's more public, and the church secretary knows and the pastor knows, hey, I'm meeting with this person here, it's going to be from this time to this time. That's probably not the most ideal, but it is safer than other options. So another thing would be to hey, can we meet in the church offices or whatever. Say there's I don't know what the situation might be, like how the offices are set up, but
if we don't have too many people always on campus. And so it's okay if you've got maybe a little space right in the offices that are close to maybe pastor's office or close to where the secretary is, and you just keep the door open. Just keep the door open. And let pastor know where you're at, what you're doing, and all that. On campus is the best.
That would be the most ideal. Yeah, that would be the best. And keep the door open. That's huge. Keep the door open, because the problem is you may be trustworthy, but you don't know if the student is. Like, you don't know if they're going to say, you know what Rachel said to me? You know what I mean? Or whatever. It's just dangerous. If you can't... exactly. And so I would say the best case scenario, this is what I would say is the best case scenario, but I did the least to the best, is don't meet just one-on-one, meet in groups. If that means you have to pull in pastor with you, say, Pastor, can I get an hour of your time on such and such a day? Or pull in... another leader, whether it's a female, doesn't matter, bring them in and say, hey, we're wanting to recruit this kid, but I don't want to do it by myself. That is the best case scenario. When I met with the parent, the mom, it was me and another pastor on staff when I met with her, the mom that went off on our leaders. And I was going to defer and see what you thought, Troy.
I'm not deferring, I'm trying to contribute.
Oh, contribute, yeah.
Just to interject, you always want to err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
No matter what, no matter what the situation or the circumstances is with a particular student or an adult or whoever. Because really the only thing that you have, in ministry is your credibility and your integrity. And you only have to be accused.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Right.
So, you want to guard that integrity, you want to guard that credibility, and, even if it seems a little over the top, it's totally worth it to maintain that ability to minister.
Yeah, it's a classic above reproach scripture. So always want to be above reproach. So I would say the best thing for you to do is to always try and pull somebody in with you. One thing that is great is, is there 2 or 3 different kids that you're trying to get on your team? Pull them all in at the same time. That way, first of all, you get it done in one shot, one meeting, instead of 3 or 2 or 3 or 4, and you're also watching your back. So does that make sense? Yeah, that's usually the best thing. And never ride in a car of the opposite sex. Ever. When I was in high school, my youth pastor did it with his secretary. Bad news. Assistant, I guess. Bad news. And I looked at that. I see him coming back from lunch. I'm like, what is Senya doing in his car with him? I was like 16. I was like, that doesn't seem right. It was not right. Okay? It was not right. Never, ever do it. My kids, my girls, always, they just don't know. Always are asking me. My kids are. I just say, no, I'm not going to do it. And so, never do it. Anyway, what's another obstacle? Maybe a couple more obstacles you guys came up with. Maybe that group back there. You guys were little chatterbugs as well. I loved it. Yes. State your name and no, I'm joking.
So, you're hanging out with your youth kids and stuff, and I look like I'm just straight out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, you do.
You're hanging out with your youth kids, and then there's the 2 or 3 students that are the opposite gender of you, and they start falling in like, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Falling in like. Yo, I got a story. That is an obstacle. My youth pastor, this is before the one that was driving in the cars with girls. My youth pastor, when I was, and Drew is very familiar with him, knows him. He's no longer youth pastor anymore. He's anyway, he's a big wig. So he had a beautiful wife, his wife Becky, and she's still just a beautiful, beautiful lady. And dude, all the dudes were drooled over her. It was so fun. And they're married though. Imagine that you're single and you're like, oh, that is an obstacle indeed. That's tough. So how do you deal with that? Talk to me. Does anybody have any ideas?
You don't want to crush.
When you're as sexy as Troy Pomeroy.
Well, you definitely need to put that boundary.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, kind of going off of that. I don't want to shortchange anybody, but kind of going off that, you definitely put the boundaries up. Maybe because you're much more aware of it. When I walk into my youth room, I'm not oblivious, yo. Come on. I know that they're the junior high girls. I know that the 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade girls are like, I'm not oblivious to it. So I'm very careful with body language. Does that make sense? Now, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but I'm just kind of speaking from experience because I've been single in ministry. I've been where you guys are at. I'm where you guys are at. Until my fiance gets here, I'm still there. All right? So I don't spend a lot of. Everyone stand up first. I don't spend a lot of this. I'm much more. I'm not like But I'm very much more like, maybe more the side, or being real careful. Not to say, so you're open for a side hug. Okay, a little side hug. Yeah. Or a little pat on the shoulder. But it's a little bit less intimate, if you will, than this. Whereas, and maybe I'm overanalyzing, but it's helped me. It's helped me. Because it's like, he stared into my eyes, and he touched my arm, and it's like, because I'm a very affectionate person, and so like, I think that's one thing that's helped me, is just kind of body language and making sure that you're very careful with, don't take it over the edge, but you're very careful with how you talk with the opposite sex. I like you. Oh, that's bold. That's bold, and so it's kind of like, you know what, pat him on the head kind of thing. Sorry. This is not going to work. I appreciate you, the way you.
Remember, they will outgrow it.
Yeah, they will. They'll outgrow it. Anyway, that's a good obstacle. Is there one more that somebody wants to share before we move on?
Single ministry.
Single ministry?
That's what I was talking about. Just how even the name, the baptism.
Yeah, it does, man. Yeah, it does. I don't know if I should share that.
What did he sign it here?
Single ministry.
Yes, I believe that.
Oh, really? Hey, it was, for me, it was just kind of one of those things that I just didn't want to be a part of, I guess. I just felt like, that was me personally, though. And so
there's such a need for it.
There is.
It's a need now that's not being fulfilled because it's new.
Right. And so so this is what I did. I ran a young adult ministry. And so I didn't call it necessarily a single ministry, even though a lot of the young adults that were coming, this was in Cincinnati, and even the young adult we roll with now they're mostly all singles.
That leaves out a whole other generation.
It does. I get it. Yeah, I get it. And so there's definitely a need for that as well. Yeah, and there is. And I was always like, man, especially if you feel like you're a little too old for a young adult ministry, it's like I always felt like, dude, I'll just, I'll go to like restaurants and keep my eyes open or things like that. I don't know. It's kind of an obstacle. It is an obstacle. Yeah, it is an obstacle. Especially when you have a desire to date and all of that. So I always found dating to be hard. I felt that was kind of an obstacle for me.
What's dating?
Yeah. Dating was... So I was going to ask a question, but I want to move on because I want to get some of these principles to you guys. There's some principles. Here's some things that I've kind of learned while we're in the process of, in this season rather. And some of us have been I was in the season much longer than a lot of my friends, and I've got friends that are going on kid number 3. Okay, weddings was always tough, right? Weddings was always tough. I've had people say, well, now I understand why you're single, and we weren't even talking about my single status. You know what I'm saying? It's like, anyway, I want to say this. I don't know if I have it written down. I'm not sure if I do. Your single status or your Facebook status as single is not your identity. Okay, make sure you always remember that. That's not who you are. It's just the season of life you're in. Okay, it's not who you are. It's just the season of life you're in. If that's something that is the only thing you guys need to hear, I want you guys to hear that. Walk out of this room encouraged. So it's not who you are. It's just a season of life that you're in. Principle number 1 that I've learned is I don't know if I have. Yeah, there you go. Be a good hubby or wifey now. Be a good husband or wife right now. And we'll hit standards, leverage, and ETR. We'll hit those in a second. So you find and maintain your identity in Christ only now. In Jesus. He's where you find delight. That is where you find delight now. It's where you find delight when you get a girlfriend or boyfriend. That's where you're going to find delight when you get a husband or wife. And so these are principles under the be a good husband and wifey. Now, this is kind of how you do that. You're not a youth leader first. You're not a youth pastor. You're not a children's leader. You're not a children's pastor first. You're not single first. You're a Christian first. Always, 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 you are a Christian. Doesn't matter what season or stage of life you're in. That's first. It took me a long time to figure that out. Sometimes I still feel like I'm trying to figure it out. So anyway, in order to find and maintain that identity in Christ, you guys have got to fight for your time with Jesus. Fight for it. When you get into, some of you who might not be youth pastors or children's pastors, when you become that, or maybe you don't want to, you got to realize it doesn't get easier. It's not easier for me as a youth pastor to spend time with Jesus. It's harder. It's harder because there's always something to be done. There's always something pulling for my attention. And the same goes with youth leaders. I've been both. It's hard. On top of your job, on top of your social life, on top of school, on top of other things you're doing, you also want to be a good youth leader. You want to pastor those 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 kids that you have, that small group you have. It's very difficult, but fight for it. You will not be good at falling in love each day with your future spouse if you are not falling in love with Jesus today. Okay? You will not be good at falling in love and choosing to fall in love with your future spouse if you do not do it with Jesus today. Okay, does that make sense? Take care of your body. Take care of your body. Stay active as much as you can. Carve out time for that. Fight for that. Whether that, it doesn't have to be like 3 hours in the gym 3 days a week. I haven't been anything like that, but go for walks, go for runs, go play basketball, go out back and run. Throw the ball with the dog. Stay active and do it consistently. So for me, I lift weights, I play basketball, I go down to Medford and wrestle Troy. I mean, I take care of your body now. And it's so important, and that looks different for everybody. But be staying active. I'm kind of a hypocrite on this, but get out of debt and stay out of debt. The biggest thing, I had shoulder surgery in February, and so that kind of jacked it up. But the whole debt thing. But do your best to just be really good stewards of your money as well as your time. Because I tell you what. I have a hard time not spending money on my fiance. Like, I thought I would be good because I'm a pretty frugal person. But if you develop the habit now to be good with your money, save your money, get rid of debt if you have it, get rid of credit card debt, get rid of all those things. I'm late. Oh, my bad. Yeah, so, anyway, save. Put away money for retirement, for house, for kids, for college. Save as much as you can. I know that we live in a world, especially in Oregon, this network we've got, and I'm talking to bivocational pastors or full-time pastors. I know that we just don't make a lot of money. Okay, I know that. I get that. So do what you can each month to put away some to save. You want to act as though you're not going to be single for the rest of your life. You may, but that doesn't mean we don't have to be good stewards. That doesn't mean you just blow your money and don't save any for your future. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure. Okay. Time management. So being a good husband, being a good wifey, now manage your time well. Okay? Time for rest. Time to get away. Make sure you take vacations. Those of you who maybe are youth leaders, maybe you're children's workers or whatever, and you're not, that still applies to you. Make sure you take vacation. Yeah.
I've learned this.
Mm-hmm.
If you work a full-time job, you have vacation time, don't use all of it for your ministry. That's
right.
Make sure you have at least a week or two.
Right.
If you have it for you.
Yeah.
And I have learned that the hard way over the years.
Yeah, get away. If somebody has a beach house, dude, steal it for them for free. You know what I mean? Steal it. Something.
Tom on his cruise.
Yeah. There you go. Exactly. I know I'm rolling through these really quickly. Sorry. Keep your standards high. Don't. How many people told me your standards are way too high? Yeah, all the time. You get all, and that's a myth as well. Shoot for the stars. I did. Shoot for the stars. And watch God blow your mind. So keep your standards high. Keep loving Him, and He'll blow your mind with what He brings you, who He brings you. Third, leverage your singleness. Use it. So because we may not have more time than somebody else does, but we can spend our time differently. Leverage it by going to the movies and hanging out with kids at 9 o'clock. Have a party at your house, and you don't have to ask anybody if it's okay, right? And you don't have little munchkins, little ankle biters. Sleep over at my place. 50 kids just pile in. You know what I mean? Like, leverage your singleness. Utilize it. And remember, it has to go hand in hand with managing your time too. Make sure you have your day off. Make sure you get time away. That type of thing. And then 4, enjoy the ride. You're only single once. You hope so. Yeah. For the most part, most people, especially in Christian circles, get married at some point, even if it's later in life, and that's okay too. That's all right. I would consider myself. I am below the average. The average man is 27 years old when he gets married. Okay, I'll be 29. All right. So. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Live it up. Like it's like there's no tomorrow. So it's the only chance you guys may get. So I'm sorry. I think we took a little more. I'm glad we did though, because I wanted to hear from you guys too. But is there any questions really quick that you guys might have? I don't know. ETR. Enjoy the ride. Oh, okay. ETR. Yeah. Enjoy the ride. Yeah. So. Any other questions? Yes.
I was just curious, like when you're on staff at a church and you're doing pastoring stuff, does that change like how you date, especially like if it ends up being somebody in the
I'm
church?
so glad somebody asked that question. Yeah. I kind of made a rule for myself that I would not date anybody inside my church. That's my rule, and it might be unrealistic for some of us here. So I'm really scared I'm not scared. I'm not even nervous. I'm a little hesitant to say this is how you got to do it. But I can just tell you from my experience. Is that all right? What I did was I dated quite a bit. I didn't date a ton, but I dated enough to where I figured out that I would not reveal who I was dating or if I was dating somebody until I was sure that this was somebody that I could go the distance with, possibly. I was very cautious of that because I didn't want the kids to get attached to somebody and then be like breaking up like 2 weeks later. Whoops. You know what I mean? Like, the kids, they would survive it, but it's kind of like, oh, yeah, aw. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, aw. Like, over and over again. This is not good. And so, I was really cautious about, letting kids know if I was dating somebody. As far as I know, my students never knew I was dating, but I was. They never knew until I made sure, until I wanted them to know. So, I was very, now, I dated a girl before Ashley, and that just went down the drain. But that was kind of my bad. So we dated for about a month, and then I brought her around, and then like, literally just a couple weeks later, we broke up. We just had to go our separate ways. But that's okay, because I met the love of my life. So give yourself some grace, some room for grace as well when dating. So that was my rule. I'm not going to date anybody who's in the church. Now, if you're like, man, this is not possible because I'm digging somebody that's in my church, like, be very, don't be flippant's not the word. Thank you. Don't be casual with it. Be very careful and say, "Hey, we want to set some parameters. We need to be careful. Because I want to make sure." Because it would just really be a bad thing if you guys broke up, but you're still in the same church. Kids see both of you. It could potentially be a bad thing.
Thank you for listening to the 2012 Fusion Podcast. For more information on the Oregon Ministry Network and our events, please visit our website at oregonag.org.